Hello, welcome to Coding with Carl. You'll have to bear with me today because I am sick, but we're going to press on regardless. Last time we got to the point where we'd finished the video tutorials and we were starting to look at building in some of the functionality that we wanted to see in our app. Now, at the end of the stream last time, we looked at data storage and where we were going to store the data that we were creating. Hi, Matt. So we decided to go with SQLite because it's familiar and it's lightweight. And my SQLite is a little bit rusty, but one of the first things that I want to do is set up the tables that we discussed last time. So let's have a look at our notes from last time. Okay, so we decided to go with 3 tables initially: the goal table, the task table, and then the goal task table, which essentially just links these two things together. And we did this because we have a one-to-many relationship with tasks and goals, meaning that you can have more than one task assigned to, you can have the same task assigned to more than one goal. So we need to create these tables. So as with anything, our first stop is usually Google. We need to check that we remember all the syntax for creating tables in SQLite. So that will be this point here that we're starting with today. We'll do that. We'll get the table set up, and then there's 2 things in this list that are pretty important. One of them is getting to grips with list views, because that's going to be the next thing we do. But the main thing I like to do when I start programming in any new language is figure out how to debug or inspect what's going on under the hood, and I have no idea how to do that in Java or Android Studio yet, so that will be something that I want to get to grips with fairly early, and we may spend some of today's stream looking into what debugging tools we've got in Android Studio and how that works with the Android emulator that we are using. But first we're going to deal with this table creation, so let's just jump in, and here we are. I've pulled up some example code that is on this SQLite tutorial.net website, and that looks about right to me. Multi-line strings, so that's what I need to figure out first. In some languages have trouble having strings exist like this. Android Studio seems to have told me the answer to the question. So this is obviously a concatenation operator. So I can break this string in half and again if I want to, and it's not going to cause any problems. So create table if not exists goal, and then ID int, so that's an integer, a field. This is going to be the primary key for this table, which means the main index for this table is going to be that field. Name, text. Is there a varchar? Not sure if there is. SQLite varchar. Doesn't look like it. That's fine. Don't think it really matters. It's not like these databases are going to be huge, so at this point it doesn't really matter. We don't need to get too interested in optimizing things. Where's my example gone? Okay, so in primary key, so name created, we'll do that as an integer as well. Do we need anything more than that at this point? I don't feel like we do. Now, when we execute this, one of two things is going to happen. It's either going to create that table, or it's not, and it's going to throw an error. And at the minute, I'm not sure how that error would be handled. So let's jump back to this exec SQL. Can I look at the definition of this function? Whoa. Didn't want to do that. Okay. I think it's this parameter here on the open or create database is the error handler, I believe. So let's have a look at that. Yeah, database error handler. Let's have a look at this definition. So, my DB factory, cursor factory, this value may be null. Mode private. I think we are looking at the wrong definition. No. But there are 10. Don't recommend scan reading documentation. If you do have the time to read everything fully, you should always do that. I just don't want to make the stream too boring by reading all this while you guys are watching. I guess let's just see if we can figure out how to handle errors first of all. I mean, it may be that I just get something in a terminal if it doesn't work. I guess we'll see. Let's do that, and then let's execute another query straight after. We've got an error. Unexpected token. Why? That's why. Okay, so my DB exec SQL will create another table if it doesn't exist, which will be the task table, and that field will be removed from it. This is essentially the same thing, so I'm just gonna using Vim bindings again there. Just copy this. I'll probably pull that up as well, save some space. Task. Name created, those look about right, and then one more which will link them both together. task assignment. Yeah. Yeah, that'll do. Okay, so this is going to have, shall we give it an assignment ID? I'm not sure we need one. I don't think we need, yeah, we don't need high performance. Let's just go with goal ID. That's going to be an integer. And a task ID. That's also going to be an integer. And then we will need to set a clustered primary key, so it'll be primary key, which will be both of those things, goal. Alright, do we need that? How do I want to look this up? I will look it up based on, so I'll be querying this table. I'll be saying, the main thing I'll be doing is give me all oh god, the flu is making it hard to think today, so let me have a quick think. So I'll come onto the app and the app will show me a list of goals. Okay, and then I can the day will be broken down into tasks, and each of those tasks will be part of a goal. So it's kind of like a task could be part of any goal, but does that mean that I want to enforce yeah, you know what, let's just do it. Let's just do it like this and then we'll change it later if we need to. Okay, so why the error? What's gone wrong here? Is it because we need another? Yeah. Does that look right? Does that close that bracket? Okay. So the question is, where does this file get created? Excuse me. And can we then look into this file? So let's run this code and see if we get any errors. Let's start up the emulator. I'm just paranoid that we're going to lose sound now because it's happened once. So I'll just open OBS and make sure that I can see the sound. Save all and run. And let's have a look at the terminal maybe. Messages. Still have sound? Yep. Looks like my virtual Pixel 2 doesn't want to boot today. Try that again. Is it going to boot? What can I do about this? Should I restart it? Home. This worked fine on the last stream. Okay. Force it to quit. Maybe if I build it first. Okay, this is annoying. What's going on in here? So that's fine. I have no idea what to do now, so I'm thinking maybe if I restart Android Studio, that might help. Yeah, no such luck. Cold boot now in AVD Manager. Okay. Where would I find that? Would it be AVD Manager? There we go. So this one there, cold boot now. Okay, we only wasted what, 8 minutes there? Okay, can we move this now? Oh, please tell me it didn't register that. There we go. Okay. So let's run it and see if we get anything. Okay. There we go. Instant run perform full build install. Does not match the local build on disk. Run. So how do we know if this has actually done what we wanted it to do? Well, looks like we have a built-in debugger here. And I think we wouldn't have got to Okay, I think one way to test it would be to actually write something in. So let's try. I suspect that that works because I didn't see anything that would lead me to believe that it didn't, and these are not complex things, and they're not easy to get wrong. There's probably a spelling mistake in there right now and you're probably laughing at me, but let's just assume that it did. And what we'll do is we'll rewrite this send message. We'll put something in the send message box here, and what we'll do is we'll create when we send a message, we'll create a row in the goal table. Yeah, let's do that here. So we will insert into goal. I don't know if we can use set syntax here, so we'll do is auto increment. Okay, we'll come back to that because at the minute we're just trying to prove that this is working. But we will just write into name and created. Values. Message, and then we need some way to get the UNIX timestamp in Java. Okay, so this looks like it'll do it. So this creates a long, which is an integer type. It gets the current time in milliseconds since the epoch, which is like, I think it's January 1st, 1970 or something. And then we divide it by 1,000, which gives us the number of seconds, which is what we call a UNIX timestamp. And then I'm going to also, can I concatenate that into a string? Will that work? I'm guessing Android Studio will tell me if it doesn't. Let's put this on a new line. So that goes there. We need one of those, UNIX time. One of those, yeah. Okay, so what should happen now is every time we click the send message button, as well as doing what it already does, which is take us to the screen here, it should write a row into our goal table. So let's run that and see if it crashes, because that's always a good start. Now we've already got an error in here somewhere. Can't resolve symbol mydb, of course you can't, because we need to set that as a property. So let's make it a private itself, this database equals mydb, and then this will need to be this database. Hopefully, if it was PHP, that's the way it would work. Let's see. Okay. Save, run. Okay. Enter a message. What am I deleting? Not that. Hello. Send. Okay. What's this? Is this even relevant to what we're doing right now? Does any of this look like... Okay, either we aren't getting any errors and this is doing exactly what it should be doing, or we've got no visibility on what's going on. The latter is 20 times more likely. The amount of times code just does what you want it to do the first time round, it's like it just doesn't happen very often. So I feel kind of blind right now, and I don't know whether to carry on messing around with SQL or go into the visibility stuff, the inspecting things. I think what I will do is we'll go into this display message activity, and what we will do is okay, so I also need access to this database. Now, this is probably inefficient, but I'm going to open another connection to the database in here. So let's make this a little bit better. So we'll do private, what was it, SQLite database, yeah, database, and then instead of displaying the message that's been sent straight through from there, we'll query the database to see if it's there, and if it is, we should see it there. Now, I don't know whether I set auto increment on, which means there's an ID field on that table, and if I've just written a row into that table for that message there, hello, there's a chance that that ID field is set to null. So if I want to get the latest row, I can't say order it by the ID field. in reverse order because it'll be null. So I think I've screwed myself over there because at the minute I've got no idea. Unless, yes, what we can do, every time this app starts, we can delete everything from that table. So let's do here. Delete from goal. That should just clear that table out every single time we start the app. So we're going to do this.database.exec SQL select name from, you know what, let's select name and don't type what you're saying, call name and created from goal. Can we use limit 1 because I only want one row? And is that the right call to use for a select query? Let's have a look. Okay, so is there a select? Get. Let's see what methods are actually available to us. Query, so table, columns. Okay, so we'll use this query method. So that one takes the name of the table, an array with columns, selection, string selection, okay, so let's see if we can find the definition on here. Here we go. Returns a cursor. So we need a. It'd be good to see an example of this. Let's look at an example. Or not. Slowest website ever. that's well laid out. Okay, so let's do this then. That would be goal, because that's the name of the table. Columns, how do you declare an array of strings? Okay, it's fairly simple. So I guess like this then. And we wanted a name and created. We don't care about the ID. So let's do no. What is this? I guess that's what goes into there. Next one is group by. No. Having also no. Ah, okay. I like this. Order by. Let's say null for now. And limit 1. And then I'm going to break each of these up onto a new line so that I can actually see it. Okay, and this should give me a cursor back, so so, if cursor does not equal null, now can we write out to the log somewhere if it fails? That's terminal. Perfect. Log dot d. Something went wrong with the query. And we need to import that class. Okay, so if this query works, we should have a cursor that is set to the first row in this goal table, which will have the name and created the day of the time we click the button. So let's let's try and use this getString method on the cursor to see if we can populate this text view with it. So instead of using this message here, we're going to use cursor.getString, and I will be amazed if this works. And then the column index, which is 0, because it starts at 0. Or does it? You should never assume that, because sometimes it doesn't. Okay. If sanity prevails, then it will be 0. So let's just assume that for now. Let's see if this works. Aha, we have some errors. Okay, so illegal start of expression. So it doesn't like the way I've declared this array of strings, and I have no idea how to declare an array of strings in Java, so that might be something that we need to look at. Arrays. See, that looks okay. Keyboard fail. Created. And then we'll replace this here with fields. Is that any better? Got another error down here. Or is that the error? Integer cannot be converted into a string. And that's for the limit clause. Okay, I guess this is where I went wrong. Tag message. So, okay, so let's say tag would be test, because I have no idea up until now. Let's try that. Did that work? Should we run it in debug mode? Okay, so now we're running in debug mode. So if by some miracle everything we've done today actually worked, then I should be able to type a message in here. Please God, work. And when I click send, it should write that row into the database table. And then when it goes through to the next activity, it should read from that table and pull that message out of the database and then show it in the text box. And it did. I am blown away by that, and I still don't trust it. Okay. Yeah, I don't trust it. I think because I don't really understand yet how to dig into stuff and see what's going on. There's part of me that thinks that the app I'm running here is not this version of the code, and it's still doing. It's just the previous version that was just taking that from straight from the message box. I'm not sure, but there's a good chance that actually worked, and if it did, that was quite easy. But unfortunately it took us nearly an hour just to get to that point, and I did want to start digging in some of this inspection stuff today, which I guess isn't going to happen now, but we will make an effort next time to really start digging into this, see if there's a way that we can look into the database, and we'll learn how to use this debug system. Now, I'm not seeing that test message anywhere, and if there'd been a problem it would have been flagged up here with this tag, so yeah, maybe it did work. Do you know what? I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll actually write something into the debug log. We'll do that before this happens, so we'll do it. Oh, hang on. Yeah, we'll do it here, and we'll add the tag. We'll do it in capitals, so woohoo. Testing this call, right? So when I run this, if we see this message here and this tag in the log, we will know that this didn't fire, which will mean that and we'll know that we're running this version of the code. So let's run that. So we should see it when echo stop. Hey there. Run it. There it is. There's the message, guys. Which means we are running this version of the code and we are interacting with the database. We are storing our message in the database and then pulling it back out for this activity. So will we get a bug if we try to add another one? Interesting. Interesting that it's giving us the last row in the database rather than the first one. Is that because every time I come back here it's deleting that table? Okay, so some notes for next week then. This onCreate method, when is it run? that's something we need to figure out, because I feel like we should be seeing the same message over and over regardless of what we put in here, because it should be pulling the first row from the table, not the last one. Yeah, and also next time we need desperately to get into debugging and inspection. So those will be the tasks for next time, but good progress, I think. Not bad at all. So I will spend the next 3 or 4 minutes answering questions. If anybody's got any, bang them in the chat and I'll get through them. Let's have a look. Why not just bring up my DB at the top? Here, I guess. Yeah, I'm guessing that I did that after you'd mentioned it, probably. Do you have a Dell monitor? I do. How did you see that? Can you see that in the camera? Yeah, I'm using the 27-inch Dell, is it Ultra Sharp, or it's the 4K one? It's brilliant. Really good monitor. What was I working on in C? A database, essentially. I can't really say too much about it because it's for my company and it's proprietary, but yeah, I'm building a database server in C. Is it harder or easier than you initially expected? It's easier, a lot easier. Yeah, like I said, I'm not 100% convinced that this is doing exactly what it should, what I think it's doing, but I didn't expect to get all the way through that without having any errors whatsoever. So yeah, maybe I'm just that good, or maybe I'm not at all and something's gone horribly wrong, but we will find out on the next stream when I figure out how to work with the debugger. Let's close that down for now. Okay. Thank you for joining me again today, guys. It's always a pleasure. We do have now some progress on the YouTube channel, and hopefully very soon these 3 episodes will be uploaded. If you missed any of the previous streams, because I know I haven't exactly been regular with them, you'll be able to catch up on YouTube. And I think I will make an effort over the next couple of weeks to try and get a more regular schedule in place. Also, I'm sorry that I'm a bit out of it today. I have been ill, but I am on the mend, so hopefully next stream everything will be back to normal. And I think with that, I'm going to call it a day. I'll see you next time. It will either be Sunday or early next week. Thanks again, guys.